Hi everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a good day. So in today's video I want to talk about the beauty related items that I no longer buy. Now I have seen a few of these videos going around at the moment, and about a year ago now I did also upload one of those videos. So I thought it would be good to reflect on that video and see if I still agree with those items that I no longer buy, and also talk about some new ones as well to add to the list. So I've made a note on my phone about those items that I mentioned in that video about a year ago, and to be honest I agree with pretty much all of them apart from sort of one. But it's actually really interesting how your opinions and how your preferences on makeup or skincare, hair care kind of change throughout the years as well. So the only item on last year's list that I don't agree with at the moment is nail varnish, and I think that's because when I filmed that video about a year ago I had a lot of nail varnish. I used to really be into it and I had loads of different colours. I basically had like a rainbow of colours, any type of shade I wanted to wear I had it. And I think I just kind of got to the point where I was a little bit overwhelmed with all of my nail varnishes. There were actually quite a few that I didn't like as well, and I just got really fed up with my nail varnish chipping, so I had a big declutter. I passed on a lot of them to my mum and she's still got a lot of those shades now. So I think in that video I just wanted a break from nail varnish, and since that video, so over the past year, I have mostly worn sort of nude colours, so beiges, light pinks, or I've worn like a clear nail strengthening treatment. However, I got a little bit fed up of that, and it was a couple of months ago where I thought I want to start wearing some nail varnish again. I want a bit of colour on my nails, so I have bought a couple of nails ink sets. This is one at the moment. Love this colour. It's like a burnt copper orange, beautiful. That one has chipped though, so that one I no longer agree with. I am starting to kind of grow my nail varnish collection, which you can kind of see there behind me. But the rest of the list I do agree with. So on last year's list I mentioned both face masks and face scrubs, and I still agree with that. I still don't buy face masks and face scrubs. I can't even remember the last time I owned a face scrub. Now I don't want to be buying any face scrubs because as I'm getting older I'm noticing that my skin type is not sensitive as such. It's not that far, but it is more sensitized than it used to be. So with my skincare now I do kind of proceed with caution. I do try to go for gentle skincare items. I try to go for skincare brands and products that are designed for sensitive and dry skin, and I just feel like using something like a face scrub, something that contains like harsh, coarse granules, just kind of runs the risk of my skin kind of getting sensitive, and when my skin gets sensitive it inflames. I get lots of those little white pustules, it gets really red and itchy and hot, and that lasts for at least a week, and I just don't really want to be dealing with that. So that's why I don't really buy face scrubs. And also you can usually get better results with an exfoliating acid. So something like a PHA is what I tend to go for, something gentle but is still gonna exfoliate my skin, get rid of that top layer of skin cells and hopefully reveal some brighter skin underneath it. So the face scrubs still I'm not gonna buy. Face masks I no longer buy as well, and I have spent most of this year as part of my project panning face masks. I think I've panned about 3, maybe 4 face masks this year, and that's just because I don't really use them. I don't feel like they add much to my skincare routine. It's a bit of an unnecessary step, so all of the face masks that I've had I have panned this year. I don't have any more left in my collection, and I really don't need to be buying any ever again. So before I checked what I mentioned in last year's video, I did write down bath bombs, and I had mentioned that in last year's video, so good to know that is one that is still not on my radar, still one that I'm not interested in buying. And that's because I really love a bubble bath. So I like bubble bars, I like an actual bubble bath cream. So with bath bombs you don't really get a bubble bath, you just get lots of glitter, you get like a weirdly coloured bath, and it just also feels like there's a lot of product in the bath as well, and I do get a little bit worried that it's, you know, going to affect my skin. Is it going to make my skin, you know, quite sensitive? Is it really the best thing to be spending, you know, an hour in? Because I do like a long bath. I am in the bath for like a good hour. And I also find as well that one bath bomb equals one bath, whereas with a bubble bar you can get about 3 baths out of it. With a bubble bar that you get in, you know, a big bottle, that can last you, I don't know, I'm guessing about half a dozen baths. So in terms of cost, bath bombs can actually work out to be quite expensive. So I'd rather just stick to bubble bath products in the future and not bath bombs. Another one on last year's list was too many eyeliners, and I still agree with this. I have an eyeliner in my project pan, so I actually wear eyeliner quite often because I'm trying to use that eyeliner up. I don't really like it. However, if I didn't have an eyeliner in my project pan, and if I wasn't really sort of doing videos on YouTube, eyeliner would be a product that I wouldn't really wear. I'm not really good at doing eyeliner. I find it quite difficult to get them, you know, symmetrical. And also I have two different sized eyes. One is more hooded than the other. So when I apply eyeliner, I feel like it really exaggerates that. But I do try to draw a thinner line on the eye that is more hooded, and with the less hooded eye I can get away with a slightly thicker line. But I do find that it takes up a lot of my visible lid space, and I don't have much visible lid space to begin with. So I don't feel like eyeliner is a good look on me. However, I am a sucker for advertising of eyeliners. I just love the promotional pictures that brands put out of eyeliners. I just love those pictures, and it makes me want to buy those eyeliners. So we're round about Black Friday at the moment, and I very nearly bought an eyeliner from Victoria Beckham. It was the Satin Kajal jewelled eyeliner, and it was the olive green sparkly shade. Looked beautiful in the promotional pictures. I loved the look of it, and I even put up a picture of it on my Instagram stories and was like, do I buy it or do I get the lid luster in the same shade? And I actually ended up not buying either of them because, well, I'd like to say I came to my senses. It was the £5 shipping cost that actually put me off. I thought, I'm not spending £5 on shipping. So I thought, right, okay, let's do some research. And then Kiko was suggested as a really good alternative to Victoria Beckham eyeliners. Not so much in terms of the shades, but they are really long lasting, really easy to work with. They stay put, they don't transfer. So I started looking at Kiko eyeliners, and then I thought, no, stop. You don't wear eyeliners that often. They're not your favourite type of makeup product to buy. You just get sucked in with how they look. So then I did apply a little bit of common sense. I had a word with myself. So I just need to remember that I don't wear eyeliners that often. So I don't need to be adding in more into my collection. Now, I did say too many eyeliners and not eyeliners full stop. So I think I will always have like a brown eyeliner in my collection. I think it is quite useful to have maybe one or two in your collection, but I definitely don't need to be bombarded with too many eyeliners. So that is another one that I still agree with. Next one on the list was red lipstick, and up until recently I was kind of sticking with this, but I did recently buy an orange based red lipstick from MAC, which I absolutely love. But I think with this is also too many, so too many red lipsticks. I think at the time I had about 5 red lipsticks, and I hardly ever wear red lipsticks. I don't need to have now more than 2 in my collection, and also the majority of them are cool toned, and I like a warm toned red. So I had too many. They were mostly all blue based as well, so I think that's why this one was on the list, but I do still agree with it. I don't really wear red lipstick that often at all, and I have 2 in my collection, both of which I absolutely love. So I feel like my red lipstick collection is complete. I don't need to be adding any more to that. And then last one on last year's list was colourful eyeshadow, and I still agree with that. I like very natural, very neutral, simple makeup looks. I am not one to be wearing a bright pink eyeshadow or bright yellow. I don't really kind of go for that type of makeup anymore, and I just don't need to be owning that kind of makeup within my collection. However, palettes that are full of bright colours are actually really visually pleasing. They are really kind of captivating. So there have been a couple of times where I thought, oh, that rainbow coloured eyeshadow palette looks beautiful. But I very easily stopped myself and was like, nah, you're not going to wear those colours. Don't buy them. Okay, so this year's suggestions, new ones that weren't mentioned in last year's video. Kicking things off with fake tan. And I have a fake tan item in my project pan that has been in my project pan for 2 or 3 months now. I have not used it once, not even touched it. And the bottle itself is pretty much brand new. I think I had 1 whole body's worth of use, and then it sat on my dressing table, didn't get used, so that's why I put it in my project pan, but I haven't used it since I put it in my project pan. I'm just not a fake tan kind of person. It is too time consuming. It's too much of a hassle. There's so much prep that you've got to do beforehand. You've got to have a really good fake tan technique as well. Then you've got to be careful what you touch afterwards. So you've got to maybe have like pajamas that are like your fake tan pajamas. Be careful that it doesn't get on your bedding. And then after a couple of days, it starts to fade. So you then have to somehow get it off evenly, and then you repeat the process, and it's just too much faff for me. So no more fake tan items. I do have a couple of fake tan body lotions though, so like gradual tanning body lotions. If I want a bit of a tan, that is what I'm going to use instead. So the rest are all makeup items, and the next one I've got on my list is powder highlighters. If you've been around here for a while, you know I'm not a highlighter fan, and I'm especially not a powder highlighter fan. I'm not keen anymore on like that kind of big bit of height. Oh, it looks like I've actually got some on. I haven't. I'm not really keen on that kind of like C shaped or that line shape of highlighter. I feel like it's a little bit too over the top. What with me liking a very natural makeup look, I think if I'm ever going to get any more highlighter, it's going to be a cream highlighter or like a liquid highlighter, and even then I don't want it to be very glittery. I want it to be a lot more natural, so something more of like a sheen or something dewy. I think powder highlighters are just a lot more intense, and I do have a few highlighters in my collection as part of face and eye sets, or like a face palette. So those are the ones that I will be using in the future when it comes to powder highlighters, but I'm not interested in buying any more powder highlighters. Like I said, if I am interested in trying any highlighters in the future, it's probably going to be a cream or liquid, and there is one from Vive, Skin Nova, whichever highlighter product it's called. I am keen on trying that, but powders, nah. So next on the list I have dark eyeshadow colours. Like I've said a couple times so far, I like a really natural, simple makeup look. I don't really like anything too heavy on the eyes because I feel like it makes them look a bit more closed. It accentuates as well my dark circles underneath my eyes, and also where I'm not particularly good at doing eyeshadow as well, I feel like with dark eyeshadow colours they're a lot less forgiving. And they're not really the types of shades that I find kind of flattering on myself as well. So in my collection, where I've got eyeshadow palettes, they're not really very dark in colour, and when they are dark in colour, there's maybe only one or two within the palette, and then I will use just a smidgen of one, or I'll just try and use it as an eyeliner. But as an all over lid shade, dark colours are something that I kind of really do try to avoid, and are something as well that I'm just not interested in adding more into my collection. On a similar vein, I've also included as well cool toned makeup. I have a warm skin tone, a warm complexion, so therefore warmer colours suit me a lot better than cooler tones do. So in my palettes I have some cool toned colours, but overall the palette itself usually lends itself more warm than cool. And if I am to buy any more eyeshadow palettes, I am going to be going for warm toned eyeshadow palettes. There might end up being, you know, a couple of shades in the eyeshadow palette that is cool toned, but the overall vibe, if it is cool toned, I am not interested. So I'm a big Vive fan. I love the Vive makeup, and they recently came out with a new eyeshadow palette, the 90s palette I think it is, but it's very cool toned, very purple, very dark, and that was just an instant no for me because they're not my shades. They are cool toned, they're not going to flatter me. However, I can appreciate shades like that. The palette itself I think looks stunning, it looks beautiful, and when I've seen it used on other people, the end result is just gorgeous. So the shades themselves I think are beautiful, but just on me, not my jam. But also within the cool tone makeup, I'm not also just talking about eyeshadow, I'm talking about like cool toned bronzers, cool toned blushes, cool toned lipsticks. Neutrals and warm tones in terms of all of my makeup is really what I'm going for now. Okay, penultimate product is contour. Now I've included contour on my makeup inventory this year and last year. I had one contour product last year that I actually used up, I think within like the first 6 months of the year or something, but I have kept contour on my makeup inventory as like a subcategory, just in case a contour product was to kind of catch my eye. But I'm just not interested in contour products at all. So I don't really see myself adding any into my collection. On myself, I'm not really a fan of like a real chiseled cheekbone. I feel like I can get, you know, enough definition with a bit of bronzer without having that real like harsh kind of line. So it's not really the type of product that I lean towards. I'm not really interested in any that I've seen recently being advertised. It's just not really my kind of makeup item. So I think this is going to be a really easy one to not add any more into my collection. And another easy one, another item that I am no longer buying, not interested in at all, is false eyelashes. I currently have one pair, but I'm actually going to get rid of them. I haven't worn them in well over a year. I think the last time I wore them was for one of my makeup through the decades videos, which was one of like the first kind of videos I did on my channel. So yeah, haven't worn them in well over a year. I just don't like the feel of them. They feel really uncomfortable, they feel heavy, they feel like they kind of affect my vision as well, and I'm constantly thinking, oh, are they okay? Are they still glued on? Do they look alright? So I'm just not comfortable wearing them, how they feel, but also how I feel wearing them as well. And also I'm not really going out to like loads of parties, loads of nights out, loads of events where I feel like I would need false lashes. If it's necessary for me to have more of like a dramatic lash, I'll just pile on more layers of mascara, and I feel like that kind of does the trick. I've never really been into false lashes, and I don't really see that changing anytime soon. In the future, if I did get a little bit curious, I think what I might try is like individual ones or like a half lash, but the full strip is a definite no-no. I'm not a false lash kind of person. This is something I don't need to be adding into my collection, and I actually need to declutter the pair that I have at the moment because the glue is also probably dried up as well. So those were the beauty items that I am no longer buying, that I'm not adding any more into my collection. So I'm interested to hear what yours are, so please leave me a comment down below. I'll be interested to read those. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you again very soon for my next one. Bye.